Being 7 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Vasquez.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Gage.
Here.
Commissioner Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Lynn.
Here.
Commissioner Shimmons.
Here.
Commissioner Torty. Here.
Okay, Roland, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. We would ask those with cell phones if they would please put them on vibrate or mute them. We would appreciate it. The first order of business presentation by the Building a Healthier Community Coalition Governors 2015 Fitness Award. And Heather Hemming is here, the health educator with the Sioux Tribe. And I think Becky is going to assist her. Should I come up there?
I'm here to award the City of Sault Ste. Marie with the 2015 Governor's Fitness Award. The City of Sault Ste. Marie was the top community in the state of Michigan, so this is a highly competitive award that the city won. So I just want to congratulate you. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to get so technical. Sure. Oh, okay. Oh, that's better. The City of Sault Ste. Marie and Building a Healthier Community Coalition applied for the 2015 Promoting Active Communities Award. They received the Silver Award, which made them eligible to apply for the Governor's Fitness Award. And just a little information about what the Governor's Fitness Award, it honors inspirational individuals and organizations for their pursuit, commitment, and dedication to health and wellness. Each award recognizes the many different ways the winners are inspiring and influencing Michigan residents to be healthier. The GFAs also serve to encourage community involvement through teaching, role modeling, and volunteering. And we also have a video to play that the Michigan Fitness Foundation put together. So, yeah, it's all set up, so we'll play that.
These are the faces of Michigan's 2015 Governor's Fitness Award winners. They're dreamers.
My dream is to be the world champion in table tennis.
And they're doers.
I lost 390 pounds in 18 months.
Oh my God!
My name is Nate Young. I've lost 250 pounds and I've conquered obesity.
I believe that I can do anything.
But mostly, they are inspiration.
I was so obese that I could barely walk. Now I'm running.
They're champions for health.
Who wants to wobble, baby?
Just to watch somebody else succeed and know you had a hand in doing that, best thing ever.
Always comparing ourselves to somebody else, we're never going to be able to shine and become the best version of ourselves that we can.
They're changing lives.
Just reach fingertips up towards the ceiling.
I'm not afraid of living anymore.
5, 6, 7, and.
Hopefully this will encourage women to turn their lives around and their families' lives around.
Cha-cha right, cha-cha left, and rock, 2, 3, 4.
They're finding the finish line.
There's people that are just watching me on the course and they don't know that I have Asperger's. And they're just saying, wow, I wish I could run as fast as him.
My mom is my role model and she's amazing, and to hear her say, I'm so proud of you, and hug me, and then my little niece take my medal and say, Aunt Lizzie, you won the race.
They've created Michigan's most extraordinary events.
Therefore, I, George K. Harwell, Mayor of the City of Grand Rapids, do hereby proclaim April 13th, 2013 as the Gazelle Girl Half Marathon and 5K Race Day.
We bring people together of all ability levels, get them out and being active, and just give them the support that they need to get out and change their lives.
Creating fitness memories that'll last forever.
It's going to be something that I remember for the rest of my life, doing 60 on 60 with my dad.
And creating work environments and communities committed to health and wellness. There's a 14-year-old who gave his brother a piggyback ride for 40 miles to raise awareness of cerebral palsy.
The first time I thought about that, it was pretty insane.
And a police officer nearly killed trying to save a life, who honors a fallen officer by getting out of her wheelchair.
And I actually did the 5K on my crutches. I remember that day very well.
She's inspired a lot of people, not just Mama, but inspired others to do better, to do more than they think they can.
They are unstoppable.
Losing my legs and losing my vision has given me an
Okay. I guess one last thing is I want to thank the city manager, commission, and all of our partners like Superior State, War Memorial Hospital, and all the partners for Building a Healthier Community Coalition for attending our Let's Get Moving kickoff event on Saturday, June 6th. We had a great turnout with 50 people doing the Walk the Waterfront, so I want to thank you for that.
Thank you very much, Heather. And just a quick mention to all the people that this goes on for a couple of months, and thank you all the people that registered to continue the walkathon and the movements and making the city an area a healthier place to live. So we appreciate your efforts and look forward again next year to making it even bigger and seeing the Sue on the video, right?
It is on YouTube, the real one, if you can do it. Sorry for it.
That's okay. Once you face that out so people can see it. There you go. Thanks. Okay, thank you. Item number 2, presentation by the Riocho delegation led by Tony and Missy McLean, and they're both here, and they had an exceptional trip, we understand, and there's some video or some pictures.
Yes, we do have just 12 slides we want to show you to give you a little flavor of what the trip was about. But before I do that, I'd like each of our delegation members to just introduce themselves to you, and maybe they have a word to say. Unfortunately, we had one of our delegation members, Audrey Budlong Jones, who was not able to attend due to the death of her sister. She was killed in a car accident in Texas the day before we were scheduled to depart, so she was not able to go with us. But right now, I'll let our other delegates introduce themselves.
Well, I'm Melissa McLean, and I'll probably say something a little bit later.
I'm Gloria Kemp, and this was my second trip. I went 2 years ago. I learned a lot last time. I learned more this time. I would go every time. But I do think that more people in the community should participate in this. It's a wonderful experience and a great opportunity to get an education on the Japanese culture. My host families were wonderful, very patient.
Thank you.
I'm Julia Seger. This is my first trip over there. We've hosted people before over here, but my first time over there. It's an excellent time over there. Highly recommend it to anyone that can get a chance to go over there. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Eggert, and I also went. This is my son Ethan. He wasn't able to go with us. We weren't sure how he'd handle the 13 hours each way in the plane. So everyone was absolutely wonderful. Just the kindness and eagerness to help and please and show us their great community was amazing. And we're already making plans to go again.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll show you a few slides of what happened while we were in Riocho as your official delegation. First one is up there. Okay, if it's on the screen, it's up? Okay, great. This is our presentation of our gift to Riocho, and that, when I say our gift, it's a gift of the city to the city. And you can't see it very well there, but in the next slide, this is the gift that we actually presented to them. Riocho Dragon is on the left, Sioux City Hall is on the right. The middle is the verbiage, and the background is cherry blossoms, so we thought it was very significant. very beautiful piece of artwork that was done here locally. So, next slide. This is, again, the first day. This is a stone that's in front of the City Hall in Riacho, and you can see the wording on the next slide. That I believe this was a gift from our city to their city a year ago or 2 years ago. So, and if you go to the other side, which we don't have a picture of that, I do at home, but it says the same thing in Japanese, but I figured Bill wasn't going to translate tonight, so.
Kampai, that's all I know.
Okay. This is the 60th anniversary celebration. If you weren't aware of it, this is their 60th year of incorporation. And so it's a very special day for them. We were seated in the very front row of all the dignitaries, treated with great respect and great importance, and it was really kind of moving, so, although I didn't understand anything. So, next slide. We did get some cultural events in. We'll just show you a few of them, and this is just a taste of what you will get if you go there. We spent a night in a traditional Japanese hotel. After the community bath, we all put on our yukatas and had a very traditional Japanese dinner, and of course had a few kanpais after the dinner. We participated in a tea ceremony, visited many shrines. Shinto shrines are everywhere. I think this particular one was somewhere between 600 and 800 years old, so it was a relatively new one compared to the ones we saw. We saw some buildings as old as 1,500 years old. And of course, we took a trip on Lake Biwa, the largest freshwater lake in Japan, and we took the trip aboard the Paddle Wheeler, Michigan, and it was a great afternoon. We gave them a little culture back. Gloria was kind enough to bring her drum, and of course, getting that through customs along with her sage-grass and a few other items she had. I didn't know if we were going to see her again, but she finally emerged and was able to put that program on. This was a pleasant surprise for us. If you look real closely, you'll notice there's one young lady there that doesn't look very Japanese. She's doing this, and I'm going to let my wife mention her.
Okay. We, if you'll notice, this is a picnic table, and people gave us a barbecue, and we were standing around visiting our friends, and turned around, and here was Sarah. Sarah is a Sioux High School student who is now spending 6 months in Japan at a high school probably about an hour from Riacho. Now, Sarah was a part of our student exchange program in 2012. She became so excited about the trip and became such good friends with her host sisters. They kept in touch, and a year later, her sisters visited her as from the exchange program from Rio, and she hosted those young ladies, and you can see one of them, and I'm not sure just which one it is one of her sisters that she became so well acquainted. She is, like I said, spending 6 months in a high school in Rio, and this was generated from our student exchange program. Again, she became so excited, and I think this is so important to remember that we not only have an exchange at the adult level, but we also have it at the middle school level, and there are times that it does change lives, such as Sarah's. And gee, I hope she comes back. I don't know. She's really enjoying her time. She intends to return and complete her high school education here in the Sioux. And we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah. Great.
I think it's really important to know that she did not do this as part of any organized exchange program. If you can imagine being a 16-year-old and figuring out how to go to Japan, get enrolled in the school, do all of the things that would be required under law to do this, she did it all on her own. And the final slide, they apologized for the verbiage on the farewell party, but we thought it was great. It was kind of a farewell party because we definitely are far away, but it was a great time overall. And again, as others have said, we would highly encourage anybody who hasn't participated to please consider doing so. It was an honor to lead your delegation, and I thank you for asking. And like I say, I'm not sure who's going to take the program next time around, but you will certainly enjoy your time. And finally, I do have a gift from the mayor to the mayor, and the two characters here are Luck and Happiness.
Yes.
Luck and Happiness. So from Mayor Hideo.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Becky? Okay, yeah. Get the,
Robin's always in all our pictures.
Be like a photo bomb.
Just a quick word. Certainly on behalf of the city, I'd like to thank the delegation for going, continuing the city-sister relationship. We had a number of folks that were thinking about going, and we had 12 at one time, and when as it came closer, people just couldn't make the commitment. So we certainly appreciate your efforts and look forward in a couple of years to their visit and then visiting them to continue this relationship of 40 years going forward. So thank you very much. Okay, item number 3, public comment on scheduled agenda items. Any person may reserve time to speak on an agenda item and not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone in the audience like to speak on an agenda item? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to item number 4, the consent agenda. City Clerk, please.
Under the consent agenda, A, minute approval. 1, approval of the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of June 1st, 2015. Recommended action is approve the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting of June 1st, 2015. Item 2, acceptance of the minutes of the following boards and commissions. A, Airport Advisory Board, April 16th of 2015. B is Historical Development Commission of June 9th, 2015. And C, Police Fire Pension Board meeting of May 20th, 2015. Recommended action is accept the minutes of the various boards and commissions. Item B, appointments and resignations. 1, resignation from the Community Services Board. Recommended action is to accept the resignation of Amy Hendershad from the Community Services Board for a term that is set to expire on July 1st, 2016, and send a letter of thanks for her service. Item 2, appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Recommended action, appoint Eric Wadowski to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term to expire on June 1st, 2018.
Okay, thank you. Before we deal with the consent agenda, I wanted to mention that we did make the paper in Riocho. This is a national paper, I understand, and this was part of the daily part of it, or the local news, and the delegation is here presenting the stone that we presented to the city and to the city fathers there. So certainly appreciate that again, and just want to make sure we mention that. And we have in Japanese I'm not sure, it must be a pamphlet.
You'll read that in your spare
Yeah.
time.
But thank you again.
They were very proud to show us. They have pictures of the Sioux Evening News. Their delegation, they were here, and they were very proud that they
Sure, when they were here, we had them on Evening News, and they had pictures. So folks at home can't hear us, so I'm just repeating that, and they were very proud to be part of that. So thank you very much again. Take care. Okay, the consent agenda. Is there anyone that wants to, something further explained? Commissioner Tuardi.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support. It has been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mayor Boswis.
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage.
Yes.
Commissioner Gary.
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn.
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuardi.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item is special orders of business. A, public hearing on a resolution to vacate with utility easements the full width of the alley adjacent to Lot 7 through 22, inclusive, Block 1, St. Paul Addition. A is public comment, and B is action on the resolution to vacate.
Okay, thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. At its meeting on May 14th, 2015, the Planning Commission considered an application submitted by Larry Bittner requesting the vacation with utility easements of the full width of the alley adjacent to lots 7 through 22 inclusive, Block 1, St. Paul Addition, as displayed within the agenda. Mr. Bittner is one of the two property owners who own property adjacent to the subject alley, the other being American Transmission Company. In the case of the alley to be vacated, Mr. Bittner and ATC's ownership of their respective properties is contiguous, all the way through the block from Spruce Street to the platted St. Paul Street. Presently, there is a sanitary sewer line which is located in the western half of the portion of the alley proposed for vacation, and that line would remain accessible for future maintenance and repairs with this application. The required notices have been sent to property owners, and at the time of the distribution of the packet, there was no comment received. However, the Planning and Zoning Administrator has informed me one comment was received from ATC expressing no objections to the subject matter. In summary, the subject alley only serves properties owned by Mr. Bittner and ATC. Due to the way the ownership of the properties is configured, the retention of the alley is not necessary for each to retain full access to their respective properties. With the retention of utility easements, provisions are made for continued access to the sanitary sewer line, which lies within a portion of the alley, as discussed. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission first hold a duly scheduled public hearing on this request, and secondarily, approve the presented resolution to vacate with utility easements the full width of the alley adjacent to lots 7 through 22 inclusive, Block 1, St. Paul Addition. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, we'll hold a public hearing on the resolution to vacate with utility easements the full width of the alley adjacent to lot 7 through 22 inclusive, Block 1, St. Paul's Addition. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Commissioner Bauer.
So moved that the commission approve the presented resolution to vacate with utility easements the full width of the alley adjacent to lots 7 through 22, inclusive Block 1, St. Paul Addition.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Lynn.
Just a quick comment. What a nice job Mr. Bittner did on that property. Took a very ugly piece of property and made something nice out of it.
Yep.
I was going to mention that, and I drive by there a lot, and there used to be, the building was in disrepair. Didn't know there were two other buildings on the property. Wooded areas, not very well taken care of, and I don't know if Mr. Bittner is in the audience tonight, but did an excellent job, and it looks like, it's all fenced in, privacy fence. Looks like there may be some cement going down because there's a lot of sand, and it's just a nice addition to it's going to be a nice addition to the community on the corner of Ord, Easter Day, Spruce, right there where, I think it was Jacobs used to own it many years ago. Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Commissioner Gage.
Yes.
Commissioner Gary.
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn.
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons.
Yes.
Commissioner Tuardi.
Yes.
Mayor Boswis.
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item is under Communications. A, from Commissioner Lynn, discussion on Jeff Blashill, the new Red Wings hockey coach.
Well, Commissioner Lynn.
Yes. I'm very proud to have won 2 national Pee Wee championships with Michigan Hockey Association. 1987, coached by Bob Brown. 1989, coached by Gary Brown. But especially on the 1987 team, and I got all their names on the plaque on the trophy, there was a fella by the name of Mr. Blashill, who, I hope I pronounced that right, Blashill, isn't it? But anyway, Jeff was one of the, I think we have 2 goalies, was one of the goalies, and he championship was won in Peoria, Illinois. I was on center ice doing one of these. It was great. But and I was talking with my son. We're going to try and get a trophy as close as I can to the original championship trophy. All the names, everything on there. I'm going to hopefully present it to him. If I can't present it to him, I'm going to mail it to him. That he's going to get it. And he should have that for what this man has done. But he was born in Detroit, but raised here in Sault Ste. Marie, played hockey here, was on a national championship team, went to Ferris, and the way it goes. But I think the city, what we need to do, and I want to hear from you guys, we should do something to honor Jeff, okay? Maybe as you come into town, there's a billboard, Jeff Blashill, Detroit Red Wing head coach, city resident, whatever. Get his jersey. I know he's got one now. Blashill 15 on the back somehow. If we could get one of his jerseys to put it into the puller. That's where he played. But that's just a couple of my ideas, and this is really an honor. That the Wings, that's us, you know what I mean? And I hate to say this to Detroit, but we are Hockey Town, USA. It's not Detroit. It's Sault Ste. Marie. But I'd like to hear from some others, maybe get a committee or something to put something together.
It shouldn't be, I don't think it should take a lot of time, and it shouldn't take a lot of effort. I think there's no question that Jeff went to school here, born and raised here, went to Sioux High, played hockey in the puller. And I would think, you know, his picture, and maybe if we can get a copy or a replica of his jersey, if we don't get, but it had Blashill 15, Detroit Red Wings head coach, and put the year that it started, type of thing would be nice hanging in the puller. You know, it's a great thing for the city to be, you know, the original Hockey Town USA, and Detroit talks about being Hockey Town, and the Stanley Cups. I mean, they got the banners hanging there, and we watch them on TV all the time. So it's great that we have a local flavor. That is big time, I guess, is what you really want to say. And we'd love to have him come back here for an exhibition game or something. I'm sure he's got all kinds of requests. You know, so. But we want to send a congratulatory letter, I think, also from the city of Sault Ste. Marie, signed by each of the commission, and go from there. And maybe just ask if there's something that he could donate to us that we could hang in the puller, and maybe leave it at that, and to talk about what we want to do. So, Commissioner Tuardi.
I know that they have those jerseys because I didn't know if you saw the little video of him throwing the pitch out, or saw the game when he threw the pitch out at the Detroit Tigers game on Saturday, I believe, and all of his kids were wearing that exact jersey. So there's a few of them around. He might donate one to us. We'll have to ask him. But I agree. We called him Jeffy Blashill. He was not Jeff. He was Jeffy. And because I grew up with his older sisters and still good friends with them. So we chat on Facebook, and when they come to town, we get together. So very nice family, and known them whole life.
Great. Anyone else? Something that we should do, I don't know, think we need a motion, but I would think that if Commissioner Lynn and myself and Commissioner Tuardi, and the city manager get together, anyone else want, that should be plenty. That can come up with an idea, and then we'll do the letter for sure and ask him what we'd like to do, and see if, I'm sure he'll respond, you know. Okay?
And you never know, Your Honor, once I get my hip fixed, you know, Jeff might call me if they need a hockey player that doesn't like to back check or go in the corners. I'm their man. I can do it.
You ever heard of being a has-been? You're there. I mean, this guy, 73 years old, and he's still thinking about playing hockey. Although you played up till this past year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was. You're a
that's
legend.
2
You're a
meetings in a row,
legend.
you give me a good shot. You know that.
Right. No, great idea. We will follow up with that. Anyone else? No? Thank you.
The next item under Communications, item B, from the Community Services Board, approval of youth recreation program funding for fiscal year 2015-2016.
Before we go to that, we should maybe have a motion, so it's in the minutes, about doing, just refer to administration or
So moved.
for Jeff Blashill and his family. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. Item B was the Community Services Board approval of the youth recreation program funding for fiscal 2015-16. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The Community Services Board, at its meeting held on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015, reviewed and discussed the youth recreation program funding applications received for the 2015-16 fiscal year. All youth groups requesting funds made a brief presentation to the board, as it's mandatory that each group present their request to the board for funding consideration. It should be noted that any Community Services Board member who is affiliated with any of the applicants was unable to either discuss or vote on any allocation recommendation affecting their organization. All youth recreation program funding application forms were both emailed and mailed by regular mail to last known funding recipients. Upon commission approval, each youth recreation organization would be required to enter into an agreement for providing recreation services to the city of Sault Ste. Marie prior to receiving funding. The recommended allocations for each youth service organization as put forth by the CSB have been included in the recommendation, and accordingly, I recommend that the City Commission allocate the following amounts to the following organizations: $6,000 to the Sioux Theater Project, $5,000 for Tapawingo Farms, $2,400 for Sioux Area Lacrosse, $2,450 for the Hiawatha Skating Club in ice credits at the Polar, $8,150 for Sioux Michigan Hockey Association in ice credits at the Polar, $2,000 for Sioux Soccer Association, and $9,000 for Sioux Area Little League. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Twardy.
Thank you. First, I just wanted to say that that was my first meeting with the Community Services Board, and according to Dan Wires, it went very smoothly, so I'm not sure how these normally go, but I thought it turned out really great. And I thought it's a really good sign to see that there's a lot of different organizations in Sault Ste. Marie, and they don't just have to do with athletics. I was excited to see that both Sioux Theater Project and Tapawingo Farms were awarded part of the money, so I thought that was a really good thing. There's a lot of things for kids to do in Sault Ste. Marie. So with that being said, I move that the City Commission allocate the following youth services funding amounts for the following organizations: $6,000 for Sioux Theater, $5,000 for Tapawingo Farms, $2,400 for Sioux Area Lacrosse, $2,450 for Hiawatha Skating Club and ice credits at the Puller, $8,150 for Sioux Michigan Hockey Association and ice credits at the Puller, $2,000 for Sioux Soccer Association, and $9,000 for Sioux Area Little League.
Board. It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Bauer.
Yeah, I was wondering, the $9,000 for Sioux Area Little League, does that also include girls softball or no?
I don't think so.
Yes and no.
Oh.
They're girls softball, but maybe there's other leagues that didn't apply. There is girls softball in Little League.
Okay.
Okay. Because I remember it used to be, there used to be like a separate line for them, and I was just wondering why we're not seeing it.
Dan Wires is coming forward.
They didn't show up.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Within Little League, they have girls softball at different levels, and that is part of the $9,000 funding. There is like a day program that's put on by another group, and they've come before and asked for money at different times, a much smaller level of funding. And some years, I think on the spreadsheet you received, some years they've come and asked, some years they didn't. Much smaller amount, maybe closer to $500. And so they didn't come back, but sometimes they have enough money. In this case, Sioux Area, the Sioux Giants football program did not ask for funding, but they always have come to get it, and have always received some. But this year they didn't need it. They had good fundraising. Could be the same thing with that girls
Gotcha.
softball program.
Yeah, I was
So
just curious because I didn't see them on there, and
different leadership, different volunteers. So they do come and go at some points in time, but the Little League does cover some youth girls softball. Though.
Commissioner
You're welcome.
Commissioner Gary?
I'd just like to point out the 35,000 is a great, it's a good amount, but there are 2,624 youth that is supporting, so I think that's really important to know. 2,624 in a community this size that we're supporting through all those programs. So I congratulate the Community Services Board. And about 50-50 of them are in cities of St. Marie and outlying, so. Not that that's a
If
bad
it's
thing.
okay, I may make one more comment, if Commissioner doesn't mind, that a lot of the youth organizations are starting to go out to some of the other outlying townships. I think Little League, they play in Dafter, and Dafter Township has supported them, so there's some other support going on for some of those, which is good. It's good to
Yep,
hear.
that is good.
I meant that comment as a good thing, not a territorial thing. Yeah.
Commissioner Gage?
My only question is, were there any groups that applied that did not receive approval for funding?
All groups who applied received funding, and that has really been a bit of the cornerstone of the Community Services Board. And, everyone gets different levels, and there's a lot of different variables, but everyone who applied did get funding.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C under Communications is from the Downtown Development Authority, fiscal year 2014-2015 budget amendments.
Okay, thank you. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. As laid out within the memorandum, Finance Director Collins has conducted a final review of the DDA Fund, TIF 1 Fund, TIF 2 Fund, and the Parking Fund, and the parking deck budget to determine what amendments are necessary prior to closing out the fiscal year. In regards to the DDA Fund, an additional $1,400 was to be spent on 10,000 brochures and charged to the printing and advertising line item. Accordingly, there is a recommendation that this $1,400 be drawn from the residual fund balance in the DDA Fund. Regarding the parking deck fund, heavy snow during this past winter called for greater than anticipated charges in contracted services and internal wage allocations. An additional $18,200 would be needed to cover these costs. In summary, the DDA Director and the DDA Board, in my opinion, has done an excellent job managing their budgets. And with that, I would recommend that the City Commission authorize the budget revisions as outlined this evening.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Bauer?
Yes, so moved that the City Commission authorize the budget revisions as outlined.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Tuorty?
Just a comment. I don't know if we've had a chance to see the brochures for the DDA, but they look really, really good. And I know that you sit on that committee, but I think Justin and whoever else helped to design that brochure did a really good job.
That I sit on that committee, but you like them anyway? Or?
Yeah, that's sort of what I was saying. No,
I don't understand your
no, no, I was giving you kudos if you helped with the brochure. It's a nice-looking brochure.
Great. How many of those brochures are there out and about or distributing them? I see Justin's in the audience. Sure, come on up. Justin Nepper, our Downtown Development Director.
So one of the things that the Downtown Development Authority does, just to remind everybody, we have a principal shopping district, which is a special assessment that each of our properties in the Downtown Development Authority pay that goes directly into marketing, promotions, advertising. So this year, on top of all of our web, Facebook, social media work that we do, a lot of the promotions in terms of our events, and general advertising partnerships with radio stations. We also are trying to do a much better job at brochure distribution, which has been sort of off the radar for a few years, probably 5-6 years ago. So the last 2 years we've been pumping out a lot more brochures that are going out there, specifically promoting attractions, attractions in business, retail shopping. So we just ordered 10,000 brochures. 5,000 of them went to the visitor center right on the expressway there by the Canadian off ramp, or the Easter Day ramp, and they actually requested all 10,000. We couldn't afford enough to do as much as we'd like, but we're working up into that. So there's about 5,000 that went to that center, and then the rest are being distributed around towards hotels in the area and to all the downtown businesses, just to help refer business back and forth to one another.
Excellent. Any questions of Justin? Thank you. Do we have a motion and support?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosfus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D under Communications is from the Tax Increment Finance Authority 3, Airport, and the Local Development Finance Authority, fiscal year 2014-2015, TIFA 3, and LDFA budget amendments.
Okay, thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As commissioners are aware, it was previously anticipated that the tax capture for the LDFA would be about $161,000 for the current fiscal year. However, following settlement, the LDFA budget projection for the current fiscal year experienced a significant decline. The decrease is attributable to the decreases experienced by the city in its taxable value during the last 2 years, particularly in regards to commercial properties and various changes enacted by the legislature of the state of Michigan. As explained at the June 1st, 2015 regular meeting of the City Commission, due to this decline in tax capture, the bond obligations associated with the construction of the Breeder Building and ongoing Smart Zone operations, additional funds from TIFA 3 are needed to ensure the LDFA account closes this fiscal year appropriately. As noted through other communications, over the last few months, city staff, EDC staff, and Smart Zone staff have held various meetings to work on alternative manners to address this tax capture subject matter. This may include legislative changes, and this is not a situation that's unique to Sault Ste. Marie. At this time, the LDFA and TIFA 3 have addressed this matter for the current fiscal year by recommending the approval of the budget amendments contained within a memorandum for approval. These budget amendments include reducing LDFA revenue by $137,000, increasing LDFA revenues refunded by $11,300, reducing LDFA taxes refunded by $1,683, and as a matter of housekeeping, there are 2 other items that are being added for TIFA 3, increasing Smart Zone support by $35,000 and reducing engineering and product costs by $29,600. I would like to express my appreciation for the members of the LDFA and TIFA 3 boards, which have really worked on this issue extensively. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Tuorty.
I so move that the City Commission approve the fiscal year 2014-2015 LDFA and TIFA 3 budget amendments as outlined within the fiscal impact section of the memorandum.
Support.
It's been moved supported. Are there any questions or comments? I guess just we were hoping the LDFA would be doing a little better at this time since it's about going on 3 years old. But because of the reduction, as we all know, the reduction in property taxes in the city and the veterans exemption, I don't know what the number is, but I think it was fairly large compared to what we thought it was going to be.
That's correct, Mayor. 1.7 million.
1.7 million? I guess that is pretty large. But that's the exemption for disabled American veterans, state of Michigan enacted. Certainly a benefit to those folks for being, giving their all, I guess, during wartime. And but that it does affect our taxing ability, and the LDFA and the Smart Zone. It's important that we try and bolster the entrepreneurial experiences here in the community, and get industry. And we've been fairly fortunate with our own area that's the industrial base on Easterday Avenue, and a couple of the other ones that are close to that have experienced some growth in jobs, but having entrepreneurial starting businesses, and that's what the Smart Zone was all about, in cooperation with Lake Superior State University, and capturing the taxes, I believe, from the school system, and then they were held harmless by the state of Michigan, hasn't come in because of the reductions that we've experienced over the last 2 years. So hopefully that will change. They have the adjustments here that they have given us, so that will make them whole for another year, and hopefully some aggressiveness on their part will help alleviate that in the coming years. So That's all I can say at this point, but hopefully they will experience some more success other than the skate boot and some other smaller items that have occurred there. I would think that at one time I know they had over 100 ideas that people had that would maybe be able to be taken to market. That hasn't occurred as we know going forward, so hopefully we can see some activities in those areas. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Torty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosman?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
The next item under communications is item E. It's from the Diane Pepler Resource Center, educating policymakers on sexual violence within our community.
Okay, I understand we have Mallory Bravado?
Yes.
Okay, Mallory.
Good evening, City Commission and Mayor. So for those of you who may not know, but you remember, I am Mallory Bravado from the Diane Pepler Resource Center. I'm lucky enough to run the Rape Prevention Education Program in the Eastern Upper Peninsula. I think we're also lucky to have that awarded to us here. Today I am here to ask you, under our program, they are asking us to go out and further try to educate and enhance our policymakers in our communities. So today I would like to add informational material that I have brought to you today, as well as in the past from other campaigns and awareness events we've had. So I would also like to be able, though, to come back in later months and sit down with as many of you individually as possible. We're looking to measure our support that we have, as well as the knowledge that we've enhanced since you've been working with our agency. We want to make sure that we're doing a good job. Also, I want to let you know that the sexual violence prevention team, again, is another area, and I help coordinate that, of the EUP is determined to prevent sexual violence in our communities by promoting healthy relationships as well as respect.
Hey, Mallory, excuse me, could you move the mic a little bit
Yes,
closer
I'm-
to, there you
I'm
go.
really sorry.
Just move it down, there you go.
Did we miss all of that?
That's great.
Okay.
Just so people at home can hear you.
Yeah, oh, thank you for reminding me. And I want to let you know that we are pleased to have you all as supporters and always have been. And again, thank you for all of the past and present support that we have received for this cause, and we do look forward to the future, more support from the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission and Mayor. So thank you, and I would just like to pass out some informational material, and hopefully I can reach out to you all at another time and sit down individually if that's okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does she have
Thank
more?
you.
Does she have more?
We already got her.
Oh, you
Already
got
met
it?
with her.
Commissioner Gage?
With that, I do want to thank Mallory for taking the time to come meet with me today and discuss this with me one-on-one. Being a newest member of the commission, I am interested to see what we've done as a city to help make this issue, correct this issue and be aware of it. I know that I'm certainly involved with it quite a bit on campus at Lake Superior State University. So I just want to thank Mallory for taking the time to meet with me this afternoon about this.
Commissioner Twardy?
Thank you. Just to ditto that, I met with her on Wednesday, and just like Mallory and I discussed on Wednesday, the more you talk about it, the more hopefully it will disappear, because it just becomes common education within the community that this isn't how we treat each other. And when she does a lot of work going into the schools and just talking to the students and educating them about what is appropriate actions and what are not. So good job.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Mallory. Okay. Next item?
The next item under communications is item F. It's from the property owners along West 18th Avenue between the I-75 Business Spur and Ashman Street.
Okay, thank you. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. The owners of property along West 18th Avenue have submitted a petition for street improvements between the I-75 Business Spur and Ashman Street. The petitioners understand that street improvement projects may require special assessments upon their properties to help pay for the costs of the same. The engineering department has reviewed the condition of West 18th Avenue, and the street is in need of a complete reconstruction that would include, at a minimum, sand subbase, aggregate base, curb and gutters, and 3-inch bituminous asphalt pavement. Furthermore, there is an old water main in need of replacement at this location. Importantly, the engineering department has discussed the city's policy of street special assessments with the property owners and available funding, and that even with a 60% special assessment paid by the property owners, that there may not be adequate funds available to get the street moved into the next budget year or next construction season. Therefore, the property owners are discussing whether they would be willing to pay a higher assessment to get the street construction performed as soon as possible. If there is such a willingness, it would be appropriate to further determine the cost of the street project and utility replacement before the end of the year so that the project could proceed. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission refer the included petition to City Administration for further review of associated costs and to discuss with the property owners the special assessment that would be established for the same. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn.
So move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 7 is the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Item A under the City Manager's report would provide authorization for the execution of Conica Minolta rental agreement with National Office Products for a term of 1 year. As indicated within the memorandum, in an effort to reduce expenditures and increase efficiencies, IT Director Raffaelli has been researching options for an all-inclusive maintenance and supply agreement for the city's printers. This would include 20 new printers to be placed throughout various city departments and the provision of service, supplies, and parts. In response to the solicitation of proposals, National Office Products provided the included and presented proposal for a 1-year agreement in the amount of $515 per month or $6,180 annually, plus a yearly cost for click counts for an approximate annual cost of $18,780, inclusive of the monthly rental amount and the cost per click. Under the agreement, National Office Products will replace and/or repair any printer at no charge to the city. Upon a review of the previous fiscal year expenditures, it's estimated that this annual agreement with National Office Products will reduce expenditures by approximately $1,900 per year and will reduce workload demands on the IT director, which will allow her to focus on other priorities of the city. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission authorize the city manager to execute the presented agreement with National Office Products for a term of 1 year. Thank you, Mayor.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gage.
I so move the manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bosmas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item B under the City Manager's report would provide for the approval of an agreement with the Michigan Department of Transportation being contract 15-5307 for Ashman Street between Easterday and Sheridan. On this matter, I've requested that our city engineer discuss the subject matter and provide an update regarding this project. Thank you.
Evening, Linda.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. As you know, we have worked with MDOT partnering on the reconstruction of Ashman Street, the I-75 business spur between Easterday and Sheridan Street. And this is the mill and resurfacing of this portion of the spur was on MDOT's schedule to mill and resurface. But we also have utilities that needed to be replaced, and there was a desire to do sidewalks, improve the sidewalks, and do some streetscape. So we partnered with MDOT. They are contributing their share of what was the mill and resurface part of the portion of the work. And then the city will be doing the replacing the 8-inch sewer, replacing the water main. I'm sorry, replacing an 8-inch sewer, replacing the sanitary sewer, and then doing the sidewalks and reconstructing the street with that. The agreement before you for approval is the agreement with MDOT. MDOT will be administering the project. It's been bid through MDOT. And we will agree to pay for our share of the items as planned, which would be the utility work and the streetscape and some of the street reconstruction work. The project was bid out, bids were opened on June 5th, and Elmer's Crane and Dozer was the low bidder, and MDOT is working with them on collecting the documents for the contract and executing the contract. As soon as we have a progress schedule from the contractor, which would be fairly soon, we'll be able to, we'll notify everyone as to when the proposed start date is, but by contract, they won't be able to start until after 4th of July. I would assume that they're going to start soon thereafter because they are the contractor on the I-75 project right now, and it's their intent to be done shortly after the 4th of July with that project, so they'll be moving their crews from that project up here for this project. And I would add also that that as the street is being reconstructed, 2 lanes, one north, one south, will be maintained at all times during the day for traffic. As you know, we have the CSO project going on, and there we have quite a lot of disruption already, and Bingham being one of the main north-south routes for traffic. You can see what the impact has been with Bingham closed, to just seeing the impact on Ashman Street right now. So the decision was made to maintain traffic in 1 lane in each direction as part of the project. However, the contractor will have the opportunity, if it fits to their schedule, to, if they work at night, they will be able to detour completely. So the traffic detour right now will be set up full-time for the project, Easter Day or to East Portage for trucks. Passenger vehicles will be able to use, as I said, during the day, lanes will remain open, but if the contractor decides to work at night, they'll be able to close the street, in which case the detour would be put into effect for passenger vehicles, which would be Easter Day or to West Portage. So you have in front of you the agreement with MDOT that needs to be executed.
A couple of questions, I guess. We all know how important it is that the businesses, especially on the west side of the street, which have not an alley normally, that they able to stay open and have visitors stopping by. MDOT is aware of this, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that they're going to be administering all phases. And I know you've probably met with the property owners on each of those cases, and the MDOT understands the reality that it's important that we maintain access to those properties.
Yeah, there were meetings with the business owners, and yes, we're aware of the difficulties for access, particularly those between Leroy and Ann Street, because there's kind of an alley. It's blended with Brown Street, and the other areas have alleys. So fortunately, there are alleys in a majority of the project. But yes, those some of them on the west side will be impacted, and there will be emphasis to the contractor to keep Ann Street open as much as possible, with keeping pedestrian traffic as much as possible so that people can access the businesses. Some of the businesses don't have entrances from the back side, so all of that has been addressed and taken into account. And even though MDOT is actually administering the project, what that means is they're taking care of the quantities, managing the actual contract. The contract is between the contractor and MDOT. We are a partner in this project, and I will be very much involved, and Justin as well. will be very much involved representing the DDA in the project. So, and we will also have our own inspectors there for the water and sewer replacements, and then we'll be extremely involved in the finishing of the streetscape.
Just another question, will the roadway be undercut like the roadways that we've done in the past with the CSO work?
On CSO, we've been going 5 feet on undercut, and this, I think, is about a 4-foot undercut, so pretty close, but MDOT does MDOT did the road design, and we encouraged as much sand subbase as possible, but I don't think Ashland is quite as clayey as some of the areas we have.
With the winters that we've had just recently, the 2 winters, the frost is down 7 feet, and that's a plowed area, tremendously plowed, tremendous traffic. MDOT regulations, but what happens? And maybe you can't answer this, but what happens if this roadway falls apart?
It would be MDOT's responsibility.
Yeah, and then how long would it'd be MDOT's, but then we're looking at another 40 years before they come back and redo something. I know you can insist, and I'm not, here to badger this thing, but 4 feet is not, in today's standards, just doesn't seem realistic. When our roadways are 5 feet down?
Our undercuts are 5 feet where we don't, and that would be where we don't have any utilities.
Yes.
But Ashland actually has pretty much the full width of utilities. That our new water and sewer are going in on the west side of the street, so that entire west side of the street will be basically undercut because we sand backfill all the utilities.
Okay.
And on the other side of the street is a storm sewer that was previously installed, so
you're not, okay.
that probably has sand backfill in that too. So I would say by the end, we're probably more like, utility depth with sand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not replace, are we replacing piping only on the one side?
Our water and sewer will only be on the west side.
Okay.
There's a storm sewer on the east side.
And that'll be deeper?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, understand. Commissioner Gary.
I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for bringing up the open and accessible part, because I've had several downtown businesses that have expressed their concerns, especially given some of the other projects that we've had, that it's critical for them that they have access, maintain access, and can get the customer flow into their building. So I think it's most critical that I know that we have to have the project done. They understand that it'll be a great roadway when it's done, but we have to make sure that their business is not interrupted. So anything that we can do to make sure that commerce flows, that's our first responsibility, I think.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? We have a motion and support? No, not yet. Okay. Any more questions of Linda?
I was just going to make a motion.
Okay.
All my questions were
Commissioner
answered
Gage?
by you, so.
Okay.
I so move that the city commission authorize the city manager to execute a contract number 15-5307 with the Michigan Department of Transportation to administer the Ashland Street Utility and Streetscape Project.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions or comments additionally? Roll call, please.
Mayor Bosbus?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item C, under the city manager's report, regards a private use agreement along an unapproved alley. As laid out in the background information, Jason and Ginger Morgan, owners of 323 Emmett Street, have made application to use an unapproved north-south alley accessed off of 4th Avenue between Davitt and Park Streets to access a garage they're proposing to construct. The execution of the private use agreement should occur upon the receipt of the issuance of a building permit for the proposed garage to provide this access. Additionally, upon a review of this application, it was determined that the alley is currently being used by properties in the same block as the Morgan's property and has been in use for an undetermined period of time. There is no record of private use agreements having been put in place for the existing properties currently using the unapproved alley. In order to avoid any misunderstandings in the future regarding the use, condition, and maintenance of this unapproved alley, the administration will be requesting at a future City Commission meeting to approve, in retrospect, private use agreements for the other property owners aside from the Morgans. Accordingly, it's my recommendation that the City Commission, and as a matter of housekeeping, this is slightly different than the recommendation here, but approve a non-exclusive private use agreement with Jason and Ginger Morgan and authorize signature of said document upon the issuance of a building permit for the construction of the garage. And the addition to this recommendation would be that it emphasizes that it's non-exclusive. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gary?
I would so move the city manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions? So as we understand it, there are people using an alley that don't have private use agreements, and we'll clean those up by getting those at a later date?
That's correct.
Other than these two folks here? Okay.
That's correct. Thank you.
Sure. Anyone, any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Bospas?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Item D under the City Manager's report would provide for the scheduling of a public hearing of necessity for Special Assessment Roll C-02-15 for Seymour Street culverts. Again, City Engineer Basista will provide information regarding the subject matter and an update on the project.
Good evening again. It's my opinion that this summer you won't be able to turn down any street in the city without seeing a orange barrel or sign somewhere in the city. So it's going to be a very busy city and a lot of disruption for traffic. And this project would be the Seymour Street crush and shape and resurfacing, and along with the crush and shape and resurfacing, we'll be doing some ditch cleanup and then culvert repairs where culverts are failing or in poor condition as part of the project. As part of our ongoing projects, when streets, especially where we've done gravel road grade lifts, it's been the property owner's responsibility to pay for the replacement of the culvert when the culvert is in need of replacement. And we've determined that several of the culverts are in need of replacement on Seymour. They have been included as part of this project. And tonight I would just ask that you initiate by setting the date for a public hearing for the hearing of necessity to replace the culverts and initiate the special assessment process whereby the property owners pay for the culverts. The project, we're kind of going a little bit behind the schedule as far as putting the special assessment in place for the culverts, because this project has been bid out and it's been awarded to Payne and Dolan. And we just had our pre-con meeting, pre-construction meeting today. And when they originally submitted their schedule, they were going to start, their schedule showed starting June 22nd, but they've since wanted, because they have some other work coming up, they want to be done by right around the 4th of July. So they're planning, hoping to start this week on Thursday. So the special assessment is, in this case, the process of the special assessments is kind of lagging the construction. The project is already in place. We will be proceeding with the project whether or not you vote to, after going through the special assessment process, whether or not the property owners are assessed for the replacement of the culverts. And the culvert replacement should offset the local share of the cost by approximately $32,000.
I don't understand, I guess, because normally we don't operate like that. Normally that all comes forward, so there's kind of a chronological order when you special assess people. Do the property owners know that they're going to be special assessed?
They don't. We need to put the notices out to them about they know about the project, that it was that it was coming. It's kind of been on the books for a long time, but as far as assessing the culverts, it was something not new, but this is the first project since I've been here that we've had culvert replacements. And with all the discussion about the special assessments for drainage districts and so forth, and how the Lakeshore area has been developing with respect to special assessing for culvert replacements and looking back on our gravel road grade lifts in that in some areas of practice, we have assessed the property owners paid for the replacement of the culvert. Then it would be, as part of this project, the property owners, if we followed past and present going forward practice, we would be special assessing the property owners for the driveway culverts.
So is this something that was an afterthought after we had the project on the books type of thing,
Yes.
and now all of a sudden we're okay?
It was
Because it just seems
oversight on our part as far as what, if anything, should be special assessed, because this is a street improvement project, but it's also a ditching and drainage project. So if we didn't do the culverts, we would just go back to the property owners at some point and say, your culvert has failed. When they do fail.
good time to do it is right now while we're doing it.
Now to do it,
And
time
they're
to
not-
do
There's
it.
no assessment as the street goes by. There's no assessment for those.
There's no assessment for the road, for
Right.
the street project, because it is classified as a capital preventative maintenance.
Okay.
And we special assess for reconstructions
Okay.
for the road project.
So the only thing they're being assessed for would be the culvert.
The
that's being
culvert.
replaced. What's the average cost, do you know?
Oh,
Does it
I
depend on the
see.
length of the culvert?
It's
And-
based on the
sure.
length of the culvert, and I want to say it's around, for the culvert, and the installation is around $60 a foot for the culvert.
Okay. And what's the normal?
Depends on the width of the driveway.
Yeah.
There's, some of those driveways out there are really wide, are
Yeah.
exceptionally wide, and this would be an opportunity to go to the property owner and say, do you really need this wide of a driveway? And now that you, if you have to replace your culvert at some point, or now, now would be the time to consider whether or not you need 200 foot of driveway. And then there are other property owners out there. The utilities, there's 2 utility driveways. One's to the Cloverland
Substation.
and then the school has a driveway. And so
Will
there's
they be
several driveways out there that property owners may even decide to close them because they're 2 vacant lots that maybe they're not using.
The schools in Cloverland will also be assessed?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? We have a motion and support, not yet. Commissioner Bauer?
So moved that the commission schedule a public hearing of necessity for the special assessment roll C-02-15 Seymour Street culverts for Monday, July 6th, 2015.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Commissioner Gage?
So we're just scheduling a public hearing, we're not approving this yet, hey? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
But the construction is going to start pretty soon.
Yes.
You
We'll
know,
be talking to the property owners this week and letting them know that the public hearing and that the construction will be starting.
And go ahead, Commissioner Gary.
Well, I just had a question. Now, Payne and Dolan then is the contractor that would be putting in the culverts?
Yes. Well, their subcontractor, it will be doing the culvert work who is Fox Excavating, but Payne and Dolan is the general contractor.
So they'll have to come back after they're done with the road surface then, or we blaze them through?
They're doing the ditching work first. You could decide as a commission to not special assess the culverts. That would be if you chose not to apply a special assessment to the culvert replacements, that would be up to you. We would continue with the project, or we could take the culverts out of the project and only clean the ditches if you didn't want to do it.
Commissioner Shimmons?
I don't like the way we're doing this. It seems like the property owners have not had adequate notice that they were going to incur costs. However, I do feel that replacement of the culverts is the property owner's expense, not the city's. I just don't know the best way to handle this.
We could go back and talk to all the property owners as before construction starts and ask them if they want to include their culvert in the project. And if they don't, then we could exclude them and then assess them based on whether or not their culvert is going to get replaced at their willingness, at their option.
Yeah, maybe we got to go through the public hearing, see what kind of response we get, and then, but the roadway's going to go forward with or without the culverts. It would be good to do the culverts at this point, but I guess it would be up to the city engineer, I would think. If a culvert needs to be replaced, then there's no question that should happen. If the culvert is still in pretty good shape and doesn't need to be, that would be, I guess, it's uncharted territory for us because we're not engineers, and normally this all comes based on a chronological flow of how things happen. So, Commissioner Schimmons?
I think that replacing the culverts in this project is an important aspect of the project, because if you go and ask individual property owners if they want their culvert replaced and they say no, when in fact it probably should be, then ultimately we're not going to have a nice project when at completion, because they run that up into.
Well, handling the culverts and the drainage is really new territory for all of us, because we haven't been doing very many projects of replacing culverts, and it's been kind of hit and miss as to whether or not we made the property owner pay for it, or because culverts aren't typically we haven't done a lot of projects with ditches and culverts in them other than gravel road grade lifts. And we could require the property owner, and we have this case now where we have failed culverts in various areas, that if we see that it's causing a drainage problem, we can compel them to go out and replace it. As you know, one of the big discussions has been Lakeshore subdivision. Now, it's been we have not made people go out and replace their culverts. We've not been doing that. We should be doing it, and we will be doing it going forward. The Lakeshore subdivision and drainage area has brought that issue to the forefront. And so as we see culverts out in the system that are failing, rather than our DPW going out and shoring it up or cleaning it out or whatever they have been doing, it's up to the property owner, so we can compel them to do it. And if they don't do it, then we would do it for them and assess them. Kind of like, if your grass is too long, we will cut it for you, and then we'll put you on a special assessment for a single lot special assessment. So we are starting to get with the program here and realize that driveway culverts are the responsibility of the property owner. And if they are in a project and we've determined that they need to be replaced, people should be special assessed. And unfortunately, this project got ahead of making that identification that, hey, these culverts really are an assessed item, because we can't do it to Mr. Jones and then pay for Mrs. Smith. So I would say, as the engineer, that it's not absolute requirement that we replace these culverts as part of the project. It's just we were doing our due diligence and saying what needs to be done as part of this project, and there's culverts out here that need to be replaced. Is it a detriment to the project if we don't replace them now? No, it would not be. People could come in later and at their own choosing, or at our request and requirement, to make them replace them and give them a time frame.
I guess just a quick comment, and we'll go to Commissioner Bauer. I saw the breakup of the winter and went down Seymour a number of times, and there's a lot of water flowing in those culverts. In fact, it's almost to the roadway in some instances because of the hill coming down. That's a pretty good decline, and there's a lot of water coming off the hills in that whole area, especially with the 170 inches of snow that we had. So there's a lot, so it would ruin the roadway if there was a need for culverts and we didn't do that, then the water would be on the roadway and it wouldn't last anywhere near as long.
Those are the points at which
Yeah.
we would go in and do it, and then add that culvert to the single lot special assessment, because it's damaging. If it were to damage our road,
Okay.
we would have to do something about it.
Commissioner Bauer.
In soliciting feedback from those residents, getting the opinions of the property owners, which is, basically the point of the public hearing of necessity, at least largely, and that's really the issue that we're dealing with at this moment, is not the project
No.
itself, but whether we should have a public hearing of necessity. So therefore, I
We
would
have a
hope that
motion.
we would
Okay. Have the public hearing?
have the public hearing.
And there's a motion to support at this point?
Yep.
Okay. Commissioner Shimmons?
Just one, is it absolutely critical that the contractor do this work starting Thursday? In other words, could he wait until the outreach to all of the property owners was achieved?
We could ask them to wait to do the culverts, but they will want to start on the street.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item E under the city manager's report would provide authorization for the city manager to sign an endowment fund agreement with the Chippewa County Community Foundation. The Michigan Department of Environmental Quality is requiring that a perpetual endowment fund be established as a means to pay for future monitoring and maintenance costs associated with the perpetual conservation easement being established to mitigate Meyer's on-site wetland impacts. Meyer would provide funds in the amount of $75,000, an amount that's stipulated by the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, to the city for the purposes of funding the account in full. The city would then deposit these funds into the endowment, which would be held at the Chippewa County Community Foundation. This is a format that's required by the MDEQ for facilitation of the placing of this easement. Accordingly, I recommend that the City Commission authorize the city manager to sign the endowment fund agreement as presented. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shimmons?
I would so move the manager's recommendation.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Item F under the city manager's report would provide authorization for wage increases for non-union employees. As commissioners are aware, the City Commission has historically approved wage increases for non-union personnel that are equivalent or comparable to those wage increases that are received by unionized employees through their respective collective bargaining agreements. As commissioners are additionally aware, unionized employees that are covered through all of the collective bargaining agreements established between the city and their units are to receive a 1.75% wage increase effective July 1st, 2015. Accordingly, an administrative staff salary schedule for non-union, non-department head employees, as well as a revised department head salary schedule, both reflecting a 1.75% wage increase for employees, has been prepared and presented to the Commission for its consideration. Importantly, it should be noted that no wage increase would be granted to the City Manager, DDA Director, or EDC Director should these schedules be adopted. Finally, the administration would like to express its appreciation to the employees covered by both of these salary schedules for their continued dedication and service to the city. And accordingly, I would recommend that the City Commission approve the 1.75% wage increase reflected in both the revised administrative staff salary schedule and department head salary schedule as presented for July 1st, 2015. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lynn?
So move the city manager's recommendation on the pay raise for non-union personnel.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Shimmons?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuorty?
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer?
Yes.
Commissioner Gage?
Yes.
Commissioner Gary?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
That concludes the city manager's report. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Status report.
Item A under status report pertains to the 2015 UP Education Summit. As indicated by Commissioner Geary during the June 1st, 2015 meeting of the City Commission, the City of Sault Ste. Marie recently served as the host for the 2015 Michigan Municipal League UP Education Summit. The summit, which was geared toward over 60 appointed and elected leaders from throughout the Upper Peninsula, was a very informative and productive conference that included sessions regarding the current legislation impacting municipalities, municipal finance, changes to the Freedom of Information Act, master planning and economic development, telecommunications, expense management, and other related topics. We'd certainly like to thank those that contributed to this event, including the Lake Superior State University, the Army Corps of Engineers, the International Bridge Authority, the Sioux Tribe of Chippewa Indians, the Ramada Ojibwe, 1668 Lockside, Carl's Cuisine, the Chippewa County Historical Society, Dial-A-Ride, AECOM, R.W. Baird, C2AE, Coleman Engineering, Mead and Hunt, Miller Canfield, OHM Advisors, Plunkett Cooney, UP Engineers and Architects, the Sioux Convention and Visitors Bureau, Sioux Historic Sites, and SIDOC Group. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you. And Commissioner Geary was the chairman of that UP Summit, and did a superb job, along with certainly our city manager in organizing this with the Michigan Municipal League. I believe there are upwards of 60 people in the area. Commissioner Geary, I'm sure you might want to say a few words.
Well, I'd just like to thank the city manager and all the staff for everything they did to put this together. I thought it was well done, and it was very well received, and thank you to all the support of the sponsors. We had a lot of sponsors, so we had a very high-quality event. We learned a lot, and we had some very good speakers, and it's always good to get people from Lansing up here and the officials from across the UP to Sault Ste. Marie. So it was well received, and thank you.
Okay, great. Certainly like to thank the commission for being supportive and showing up during this. It's in our hometown, and you know, we often take things for granted when you spend a couple of days with folks that aren't from here and they see what we have here. They just enjoy themselves immensely while they're here. We had some great weather, even the little bit of rain that we had on Friday ended up clearing up, but the boat ride Thursday night, even though it was a bit cloudy, was certainly warm enough, and people were up on top going through the Soo Locks, and they thought that was just a real experience for them. Many had been to the Soo but had never been through the lock, and like I said, we kind of take it for granted, but it's still a great trip, and people just love to do that. So I know when they come to the Soo, that's one of the events that they usually do, or go up to the Tower of History. They got a chance this year. Some of them got a chance to walk the arches of the bridge, or did a tour of the locks, Soo Locks, the blue building underneath, I understand too. So we appreciate the efforts of those folks in volunteering their time to put that on. So it was a great time. Commissioner Tory.
Just a comment, we had Oliver and Robin and I had the opportunity to walk the arches on the bridge, and I remember Frank, the guy who works for IBA, and he was escorting us up there. He said to me, okay, so at this point up to the top, he said, if you were to fall, you might survive this fall. That's not making me feel any better at all. But talking about an amazing view, it was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I was on the ground and I was taking pictures of you guys, you're a long way up there. But very cool.
Yeah, they strap you in pretty good, so
yeah,
you know,
you're safe.
It's a good trip. Anyone else? No? Okay, great job. Item number 9, matters presented by the public. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to make a comment at this time? I believe there is. If you'd like to identify yourself for the record, John, we'd appreciate it.
I know most of you here, but for those of you that don't, my name's John Saruk. In 2010, I retired from Edison Sioux Electric after 30 years work experience. I worked in the engineering department. I took a position with Cloverland Electric doing a similar job for 2 years. And in that 2 years, I had kind of an epiphany, because for the other 30 years, I was working primarily in the municipalities of Mackinac Island, St. Ignace, Sault Ste. Marie. in Manistee. But when I started working for Cloverland, I started working in the rural areas more and more. And it was really an eye-opener, the number of roads that have been paved in the Elk County area. I really commend the County Road Commission. They've done a tremendous job. And I was just flabbergasted, where's all this money coming from? So when I was running for county commission, I was asking a lot of questions, how's the road funding? And former Commissioner Don Cooper kept saying, go read Act 51, go read Act 51. So I Googled it up, and I want to read you a couple quotes here. It's called Summary of Act 51 of the Public Acts of 51 as amended, parentheses, Act 51 made simple. Act 51 creates a fund into which specific transportation taxes are deposited and describes how these revenues are to be distributed and the purpose which they can be spent. It's only an 8-page document. You could find it on Google It Up, or I'll leave a copy if you're interested. Page 4 really caught my eye. Under County Primary and Local Roads, sections 2, 3, 4, and 5. The county primary and county local road systems designated by board members of the County Road Commission is subject to approval by the State Transportation Commission. And this sentence really caught me. County primary roads are selected according to their importance to the county and may be located within cities and villages. I guess where I'm heading with this, I don't know if the commission's ever sat down with the county commissioners, but it seems to me we should designate some primary county roads here. I mean, I've seen roads, Paul Bergeron's hunting camp, I can't remember the name, it's a rural road, nothing there but a few hunt camps, and it's paved. And yet his house here on 4th Avenue, that road hasn't been redone in over 20 years. And the last time it was done, they put just 1 inch of asphalt on. It wasn't intended, it was going to be a quick fix because it was supposedly going to get done. Well, 20 years have passed and it's never been touched. So if you haven't sat down with the county commission and explored the possibility of getting some of that road money back into here, I think it should be looked at. And as long as I'm talking on the topic of roads, Mick Kravis and I were talking this afternoon, and I spoke with Art Cooper, who's a resident along that stretch from I-75 to the industrial park where you're currently planning to resurface the road. And granted, that road is bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as that same road, 4th Avenue, from 12th, West 12th Street, which would border the west side of the industrial park, going up to where the tracks cross. That section road is horrid. And it is a major artery for the city of Sault Ste. Marie. So, for what it's worth, I'd really appreciate you reconsider which part of that road should be redone, because the people feel it should be done further to the west. Pat, I see you shaking your head. I think you agree that's a major artery to the whole western
Rattles
side.
your car to the bones.
It is bad.
Yeah,
Much worse than the earlier.
just some information on that. Is there a grant for the industrial park back to the business spur or the overpass? And that's a grant that we have received. It's not city general fund money. Okay. And the part that you speak about is certainly in need of repair. And I remember, I think my first year on the commission, we capped that road with city funds at the time, and I can't remember the cost, but we thought it might last 5 years, and it's lasted 20 years.
It hasn't lasted, Your Honor.
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty
but I
bad.
mean, the sides are falling, because there's no curb on it, it's falling apart because of the amount of water, but it needs to be redone, no question.
Okay.
And I think the city is also in our street road maintenance thing where we're looking at that, but no, thank you. And the Act 51 information, it's good information, and I would think,
if you want copies of it, I'll be after the meeting, you make a couple of copies, but it's also just Google up Act 51 made simple.
yeah, no, and you talked to me about a month ago, I think, on
Right,
that,
spoke
and
to
I
Mr.
think,
Turner,
and
he did
you
some
spent some
research
time
as
with
well.
our city manager, so,
Right.
Commissioner Lynn?
That should go to the city manager to explore.
Yes, and let's do some
Sure.
research on that, because,
I'm encouraged just this body to sit down with the county road commission
Mm-hmm.
or the Chippewa County Road Commission and say, should we designate some primary arteries in the city? Certainly they are more than some of I've seen Tilson Road get paved all the way from the north side of Rudyard to M28. I mean, I was just astounded Because I never worked out there in the rural areas. When I started doing it a couple years, like, wow, where are they getting all the money for all these roads? Well, I don't know if we're getting good, proper allocation of those funds. Before I step down to Commissioner Lynn, I commend you. It's an excellent idea, especially about designating a sign for Jeff Blashill. Hometown boy did well. I had a chance to see him coach in Grand Rapids this March, and he's really well liked down
I got
there.
him, see him once down there.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gary, do you?
I just wanted to mention, thank you, Mr. Strick, for the comments. And we did have a training session at our MML Region 7 group in Sault Ste. Marie on Act 51, and I think there were some resources brought to the table for city managers. So good comments, and I think he's got some too.
Okay. Is there a motion to refer that to the city manager?
So move.
Okay.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you. Item number 10, matters presented by the City Commission. Commissioner Tuardi.
Just a quick one, thank you. I had somebody send me a private message on Facebook the other day, and I know the construction is going really very well, and I'm not going to complain about the construction at all because it is what it is. However, I guess there's some people that live on either side of Ashman Hill who are really hearing the dump trucks going down the hill and then hitting the hill and braking. And so they had just asked me if maybe we could ask those trucks to slow it down a little bit so they're not listening to the loud brakes off into the communities.
We've talked about that before, I think, and they might just need a reminder.
Right, we'd be happy to offer that, Commissioner Tuardi.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Commissioner Bauer.
Pub runners, Wednesday night at Music in the Park.
Locks Park?
7
Music?
o'clock, Locks Park. Yep.
Commissioner Lynn.
Just one quickie. Signage for City Hall, when is that going to get done? Or when are you going to start?
Thank you, Commissioner Lynn. The information for the signage was sent to the State Historic Preservation Office, and they have a very thorough review process. There are some other signs that we will be able to order, such as the ones in the parking lot. However, the main sign is still under review at this time, and we are trying to follow up diligently on that.
That might take a while. I had one dealing with them when I was mayor. My God, it's wonder if we get anything done in this state. But you may hear it this year, then. You think?
We're very hopeful.
With that, move to adjourn this meeting.
Support.
It's been moved, supported. Before we leave, this is the last meeting in June, and we won't meet until the 6th of July, which is after the 4th of July holiday. So there will be a parade and fireworks on that Saturday night. Just remind everybody to be safe and enjoy the upcoming holiday. All those in favor? Oh, Commissioner Bauer.
May I interject on that? Also, I want to remind everyone that the Canadian fireworks are usually visible from downtown on Canada Day, so downtown is a good place to be.
That's on the 1st, which is a Wednesday night. Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.